Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the third round of the RRL GTR3 League. We are at the Hungaroring and the drivers are just rounding up their practice laps. We have 6 minutes to go in this session, and the drivers have just had their driver's briefing with one of our admins. So they got some pointers on how to behave on track here. Be careful on the pit entry and pit exits, and of course Hungaroring being notorious for being difficult to pass on, so-called Mickey Mouse track. So it will be very tough for the drivers to make any passes, and that's why qualifying will be so important, as we have seen in previous races in the last few weeks at Formula 1, at Blancpain, etc. So now it's these guys tackling the Hungaroring. Now, before we dive into this race, round 3 of the championship, let's first have a bit of a look back to 2 weeks ago, where we had 2 sprint races at Silverstone to round up round 2 of the championship. In the first race, these were the results. Pavel Niri took his first RRLeagues win at Silverstone in a short 25-minute sprint race. He did so 4 seconds in front of Peter Backus, and David Dore was 2 seconds further back. So very close racing, 31 drivers on the grid, and the sprint racing was fierce and hard. There was action up and down the grid, but we were mostly focused on the front top 10 because it was so close, with a lot of battle packs in there. And then for round 2 on the same night, the second sprint race, it was Robert Horvat taking the win with a nice cushion of 8 seconds to Nemanja Manojlovic, and Ralph Arella just 0.4 of a second behind Nemanja. Robert Horvat was one of the contenders for the win in race 1. He also took pole for race 1, but he crashed out more or less halfway through the race. But in the end he got his what he deserved, the win at Silverstone, and taking 34 points for that win in race 2. Again, 31 drivers on the grid, only 3 DNFs, so very nice turnout. Now if we go back to the live action, we have Pavel Niri back in front in first position, just in front of Robert Horvat. So Pavel got some motivation from his win at Silverstone in race 1, and he will be trying to repeat that in this 60-minute race. So no sprint race today, but a 60-minute race around the Hungaroring. Next week, or in 2 weeks' time, we will be traveling to, let's have a look, to Spa for one of the endurance rounds, which will be 95 minutes. But that's all for the future. And as we can see here on the screen again, we have the drivers in the team's championship. Peter Backus, well, strongly in the lead of the drivers' championship, followed by Rolf Arella and Petr Pek right behind him. So it's quite close behind Peter, but Peter is really a strong contender for the championship win already after round 2. And his team, Peter Backus together with Nemanja Manojlovic, Let's Kick Some Butts racing team, is also strongly in the lead of the team's championship after some good performances. 77 Racing is in second, and BH Racing is in third position. And as you can see on the calendar on the right, we have Spa coming up, which is an endurance round. Then we have Zolder, Portimao, Zandvoort, and then the Nordschleife to end the season and crown our champion. So only 2 minutes to go, and that's the ideal time to just well, get something to drink and get ready for the qualifying session. 15 minutes for these drivers to put their car where they belong, and well, pole position will be all important here, as it's difficult to pass on this track if you make your car wide enough and have good car placement. That will be key today to take a good result away from Hungary. We have to advertise our other series as well, of course. This broadcast is for Season 21 GTR3. We also have an open-wheeler championship in RaceRoom Racing Experience with the FR2 championship on Sundays. Then on alternating weeks with GTR3 we have DTM in R Factor 2, and WTCC has just completed their second round last Sunday, sorry. So that's also a fully subscribed season. There's only some spots left in the FR2 championship, so if you want to get racing here at RRLeagues, make sure to join us at our website, on our forums, on our Discord, and just sign up for one of these series. And well, if they are fully subscribed, which they mostly are, there's always our race club, and race club will go to Hockenheim Short on the 20th of September. That's Thursday nights, with some casual racing at RRLeagues. No championship points involved, just casual racing with mostly free content or content that is part of the starter pack to get you started in our friendly racing community, and to get you ready for the new seasons if you want to join one of the big championships. So make sure to check that out. It's a great way to get to know everybody. It's a Get Real series in RaceRoom Racing Experience with fixed setups. So there's not a huge amount of preparation necessary there. You just show up, sign up on the forum, and show up for the race. And that's the sound of the guys starting their qualifying session. Here is the complete grid storming out of the pits for their 15-minute qualifying session. Let's just reset the HUD here, so we can see some driver info. And well, who's your pick on? I'm going to open the stream here, which I didn't do yet. If you have any questions, any drivers to focus on, make sure to let us know in the comments, and I will try to pick that up for sure. Also Robert Horvat now going out for his qualifying run. Thought there was some kind of glitch. We were riding with Lucas Kolb in the 4GT, but it's Robert Horvat who is driving the Mercedes. We have a great variety of cars here on the grid, as you may have seen. We have Bentleys, Mercedes, Ford, Porsche, Audi, McLaren, even the P45 Competizione is in here. So we have some great variety of cars, but all of these great drivers will put these cars in a very tightly packed group in qualifying for sure. So Pavel Nieri starting his first lap. Let's just follow him. He won race 1 at Silverstone. Let's see what he can do in this first qualifying session, and if he can set some kind of benchmark for everyone else to try and beat. Peter Backus is right behind him, if I see that correctly. And then once the times start coming in, we can focus on the guys in front. We have 26 drivers on the grid at the moment, so some guys missing, unfortunately, because there is 36 sign-ups, fully subscribed series, so a shame that 10 people could not make it to the race. Let's hope that will be better in 2 weeks' time. But 26 drivers is plenty to have some good racing here with the GT3 cars in RaceRoom racing experience. So a 36.3 from Pavel Nieri in the first sector. Bear in mind that the session ends when the timer comes to 0, so that's an important fact to keep in mind. Pavel got his time rejected by a cut track. It's Manojlovic at the front at the moment with a 1:45.3. He's Peter Bacchus' teammate, and he's quite far up on Hutnik. Now, sometimes coming in, Daniel Badcock half a second behind. David Dore within a second. So everybody getting their banker lap in to then get up to speed for the fast runs at the end. Field quite spread out at the moment. But Daniel Badcock doing a good job. Can he improve on his sector time here? 37.2, no he doesn't. And Horvat, Robert Horvat, who took the pole, 2 poles at Silverstone, even goes pole position once again, 1 second clear of Manojlovic. So I think a 44.2, that will be that's a very strong time in this session. Let's see if anyone can beat that. Greg Metcalf in the P45 Competizione, improving on his own times. Let's see where that puts him at the moment. He's in P9 now, so we'll catapult him up the grid. P5 more or less, P4, P5, oh no, P8. So a bad last sector it seems. Nieri putting a 3rd spot time, 1.2 seconds behind Robert Horvat. Daniel Freja, he's also improving on his own lap times. He's in last at the moment, so he has to try and get a good lap together in his McLaren, his old McLaren GT3, let's say. But he's gaining some time, 2 seconds up, 4 seconds up in total. So that first lap time was not where he was supposed to be. Peter Beck putting himself in 11th position. So a big gap between first and second, but then it's quite close throughout the field. And Max Haas and Sabol Cialbertini, I think, are serving no qualifying penalties. And Frejda in P20 still, so not improving a lot there. And we have 8 minutes to go, so some drivers will need to get their lap in. Vlastimir Lukas, one of the top runners, starting a new lap. Let's drive with him. Let's drive on board with him even for a lap around the Hungaroring. So out of turn 1, down into turn 2. You need to stay on the inside here because you want to straighten out T3 as much as possible and keep it on the power over the curb, flat out. And then difficult braking here for T4. Turn it in, a bit of understeer there for Vlastimir. It's again a long right-hander on the power early, and then braking for the chicane. just at the curb. Quite a good run through the chicane. And then here it's about keeping the minimum speed up through this technical section. And Vlastimil aborting his lap, unfortunately. Let's ride with Jas Forsberg then. He's ending his lap. He's improving on his own time. He's on 13th spot at the moment on the power early. And then a sprint to the line. Let's see if he can improve. Up to P8 for Jas. So it's Horvat, Manojlovic, Njiri, Lucas, Peter Bakus, then Daniel Badcock, Simon Fillingham, Jas Forsberg, David Dore and Pavel Hutnik rounding up the top 10. Metcalf is in 11th, then we have Lucas Skol, Petr Pek, Jim Britton, Pavel Moravec, Morten Roslev, Michal Suski, Valentino Rossi, Ethan Kearley, Daniel Frejda, Oli Bateson, Xavi Ortiz, Radek Pavlacek, Sabol Cialbertini and Max Haas. So 25 drivers here. Ooh, and a bit of understeer as well for Jas, also aborting his lap. We have 5 minutes to go. Pavel Moravec then. Ford Mustang GT3 getting out of the way. And a sprint to the line here for Pavel as well. He's also improving, so where will he end up? P11, just in front of Greg Metcalf, and Horvat still with a 1 second cushion to Nemanja Manojlovic. Jim Britton, is he going to improve? No, he doesn't. He keeps P15, so it's incredibly competitive out there for the top 10 spots, because there are drivers like Britton, like Metcalf, who are normally inside the top 10, but well, you have all those top drivers inside the top 10 already. There's only place for 10, obviously, so very tough to get into that front part of the grid. 4 minutes to go, so if you want to set a lap time, you need to start and get out here. Oh, oversteer for Pavel Hutnik onto the grass. That will not be the best. Sector 2, but it seems he's improving. So let's see what he can do. Bit of a late turn in there, missed the apex. These last 2 turns are really tough. You need to wait and wait and wait to get on the power, and then try to get it straightened out as soon as possible. So down to the line, Pavel Hutnik in P10 at the moment. Will he improve? No, he doesn't. Simon Fillingham then, he is improving, but he keeps P7, so also no improvement for him at the moment. There's no purple sector times being set. Pavel Njiri, he is in 3rd. Will he improve, and will he beat Nemanja Manojlovic to P2 and start alongside Robert Horvat on the power in the McLaren 650S? A bit of oversteer. This will be a close one. Yes, 6/10 off Robert Horvat, so great lap by Pavel Njiri. Half a second in front of Nemanja Manojlovic. And Robert Horvat, he's behind Lucas Kolp, I think, in the Ford GT, who moves out of the way. That's nicely done, and I think Robert could keep the pace up there. He has 3/10 up on his own best time. So will he keep everyone more than a second away from him in qualifying? It is his home track, the Hungarian. He knows it inside out and goes there on a regular basis. So he will be stoked to get a pole position here. Oh, a bit of oversteer. 44.2, that's not an improvement, I think. Nope, it's 33 hundredths of a second behind his own best time, so he lost a bit of ground there in the last sector. Here we have Xavi Ortiz in 23rd position, so not battling for the top spots, but still getting his lap in and improving quite a bit. So let's see if he can get in front of Frejda, because he's 7 or even 8 seconds behind him. Will he jump him? And then we will move back to no, he stays behind Jim Britton. Green sectors, he's in P16 still. Dorga now up to P11. Jim is seems like he's trying a bit too hard, understeering, oversteering, but that doesn't mean he's not quick. Let's see, moves up 2 spots, up to P14. Then Radek Pavlacek in the McLaren. He was not happy after Silverstone, not happy with the balance of his car, not happy with the speed of his car, but he's in P6 now, which is quite good. And up to P4, so that's a great run by Pavlacek. P4, 1.2 seconds behind Robert Horvat. Is someone still running? We have 15 seconds to go. Lucas Kolb, 16th position, so it's looking like we will have Robert Horvat on pole, yes indeed, followed by Pavel Nieri alongside him, then Manojlovic on the 3rd row together with Radek Pavlacek. So that's qualifying done. Let's get ready for the race. Once again, if you have any questions, then please ask us in the chat box and we will try to oblige as much as possible. Let me just take a quick drink before we get onto the grid. So 20 seconds to go, everybody gridding up, all those different cars on the grid. We have Robert Horvat on the right, Pavel Nieri on the left, so Pavel on the inside line, so if he gets a good start, he might be able to challenge Robert into turn 1. Let's see if he can. The lights go on. And off we go. Robert has a good start, Pavel as well. Has a very good start. Pavel is right alongside on the inside. Can he keep it late on the braking? Oh, big accident there in the back. People spinning around. But Robert keeps his first position. And everybody cleanly through turn 1, it seems. Yes, indeed. Big accident there on Main Straight. Let's hope the drivers could continue their way. 2 wide, 3 wide here through turn 2, but everybody keeps it tidy. We have David Dorgen in the blue Audi. Robert Horvat still in front. Vlastimir Lukas took a position, and Pavlacek dropped back to 6th position. So not the greatest start for Pavlacek. Oh, on the grass there from Lucas Kolb, being passed by David Dore. Side by side through the chicane. Good driving there to not spin it up, but Lucas Kolb got back that position. Good racing there. Will he make a move, David? Yes, he does. But Lucas is able to turn in. Let's see here at the front as well, very, very close. Radek Pavlacek and Peter Bakos with he's just behind his teammate Nemanja Manojlovic. So P4 and P5 while Robert Horvat completing his first lap at his home Grand Prix, let's say, just in front of Pavel Nieri. Here we have the rest of the field. Jas Forsberg in 7th. Then we have Pavel Hutnik. David Dore, he dropped back from Lucas Kolb, so small incident there. Nice braking for turn 1. Daniel Badcock going a bit wide there, but he's able to keep his position. In last position at the moment we have Michal Suski, but he's only 22 seconds behind the leader, so everybody got away, it seems. Here is the whole field streaming past. Pavel Moravec in 14th position as well, in the number 88 Mercedes, following Petr Pek in the Nissan, followed by the Porsche of Jim Britton. So Jim Britton up to P15, the crew chief. It seems this is one of the closest battles at the moment for the top spots. Robert Horvat and Nieri running away from the field a little bit. Vlastimir Lukas on his own, let's say, a bit of a gap. No need to worry about the cars behind, and then we have this pack led by Nemanja Manojlovic. Ethan Curley dropped back to last position in the Bentley. So Nieri keeping the gap at a 7, well, about a second to Robert Horvat. Peter Backus having a look in at the back. Lucas Kolb going for the inside on Daniel Badcock and making the pass stick. So good pace shown here by the Ford GT. But take note, we have 55 minutes of racing still to go. And as you may know from previous rounds, we are running a 3 times multiplier on the tire wear. So doing a half-an-hour stint on these tires will be very, very tough, especially here on the Hungaroring with some long corners and hard braking zones as well. So it's not like it's straight lines everywhere. So tire wear will become an issue for some if they are not careful, but well, that's something you need to focus on when you are in this kind of battle pack. And I think you will just try to go as hard as you can. Let's see, Jas Forsberg here for 7th position. He's right behind Pavlacek. Seems like Nemanja is holding up his teammate a little bit. The gap is growing to Vlastimir Lukas, and if they're not careful, they will be out of contention for the podium spots. Will Peter Backus make a move on his teammate here into turn 1? He is very, very close indeed. Pavel Nieri dropping back. What has happened to him? See, he's in the pits, so he might have gotten a drive-through penalty. I'm not sure, but he has dropped back to 18th, so that proves how close this field is. One drive-through through the field, through the pits, and he loses 16 positions. Now here back to the front, Backus still behind his teammate. That gives Robert Horvat and Vlastimir Lukas some nice breathing space. They are almost the only ones that can focus a little bit on their tire wear and their tire management. All the rest are going full out to keep their position, or maybe try to get another position. Hard on the curves there by Pavlacek. But some clean driving here. For now we have top 20 within 20 seconds, so or within 25 seconds, let's say. So that's not bad at all for a grid this size, with a variety of drivers, with experience, without experience, fast drivers, slow drivers. RRLeagues is really a home to a wide variety of sim racing drivers, and we welcome everybody to our series, as long as you are friendly, safe, and committed to racing with us. Everybody is welcome in one of our series. Seems Peter Backus is not quick in the right places, but now, well, that was a bit. I think Manojlovic let him through, but he retakes the position, so that didn't really work out. I don't know if they are on the radio with each other and trying to figure out if Backus would need to be in front. Get the feeling that Manojlovic is slowing him down a little bit, so it might not be the worst opportunity or the worst decision to let him through, but well, it is a difficult call, because if Manojlovic eases off, he might be right into the clutches of Radek Pavlacek and Jas Forsberg right behind. They are about 5 seconds behind Vlastimir Lukas, and then another 5 seconds to Robert Horvat. So the rest of the field is very, very close. If we go down to Simon Fillingham, that's P11. He is only 5 seconds behind Manojlovic. So you see here on the screen, everybody very, very close, as Greg Metcalf has a look there. In 15th, he's behind Moravec, followed by Haas. Oh, almost doing the switchback there. Metcalf on the inside. Can he get on the power early enough? The P45 Competizione is nice on the brakes and in the corners, and that was David Dorre on the side of the road, but he's get going again in the blue Audi there in the back. So here's where Metcalf is losing out on the straight. He doesn't have the straight line speed, but they are 3 wide into turn 1, and it's Haas taking 2 positions into turn 1. Can he keep it? I think Moravec is back in front. No, Haas is on the inside. Understeered a little bit. So a very, very nice battle here. Very clean. Metcalf on the inside now for turn 4. Does he have the straight line speed to be on the inside and take that line? Yes, he does. So Moravec losing 2 positions, almost 3 to Pavel Nieri. So a good battle here for P14, and that puts Pavel Nieri in the last points paying position. 15th spot is where you get 1 point. So all those drivers behind, David Dorre, Moravec, Morten Roslev, Albertini, they will all try to get that 15th spot and earn some good points for their team. So back to the front, Horvat has extended his lead to 6.5 seconds to Vlastimir Lukas, and then Manojlovic is still in front of his teammate. They have a bit more of a gap, and we see Backus taking a different line to Manojlovic into the last turn, but it doesn't seem to be quicker. So Backus has the pace, but as I said in the intro to the race, Hungaroring is very difficult to pass on. Oh, Forsberg having a bit of oversteer there and losing some time. So things are spreading out to just a tiny bit here. Oh, and that's Manojlovic off the track. That was very weird incident there. Loss of concentration, maybe something up with the wheel mechanics. But anyway, that gives Peter Backus third spot. I don't think that was intentional. At least it was not a good move by Manojlovic to give away that position to his teammate. But now let's see what Peter Backus can do. Fastest lap is a 1:46.8. Fastest lap for Lucas is a 46.5, and for Robert Horvat it's a 45.6, so 1 second faster than Backus on his fastest lap here of the race. We are almost 1/4 of the race, and Robert Horvat is leading this Hungaroring race, his home race, so he will be trying to make a statement. He didn't race in round 1, and he will want to make that his dropped round to try and take this this championship, this GT3 championship. Oh, drivers sliding left and right. Backus and Pavlacek, I saw they're getting very tail happy coming out of turn 1. Here's Lucas Kolb in 7th. He's battling with Daniel Badcock. Pavel Hutnik as well is in the mix here. P8, oh, and a crash by Nieri. He's backwards, coming. Oh. Good avoiding action there by Albertini, and David Dor also gets past. He has lost a light, David. So I think it was a spin on his own by Nieri, down to 19th position. It's still not very far from the top teams or top drivers, so anything is still possible here in this race. We still have a pit stop round to go where anything can happen, so none of the drivers will need to panic at this point in time. Simon Fillingham is here in the Mercedes SLS. We have no Ralph Arella, our number 1 ranked driver. Could not attend this race. He's Fillingham's teammate, so the SLS driving on its own here at Hungaroring and in P9 at the moment, so good driving by Fillingham. This is a completely different atmosphere from 2 weeks ago for the sprint races. Those were short, snappy and fierce. Here you notice that the drivers are taking it a bit more easily, trying to bide their time. There's time enough to make a pass if you have the pace, so don't make any stupid moves. The crashes that I have seen are spins on their own by the drivers, and the first straight crash, didn't really see what happened there, but that was a big one for sure, into the wall. That nice and shiny SLS. He is right behind Pavel Hutnik. Will he be able to get close? Yes, Peck right behind. Gap by Horvat up to 10 seconds. Can he keep that pace up? Ooh, that's a special move by Hutnik. He was on the outside there of the track trying to pass. Oh, and he spins Peck around. Very unfortunate. He's waiting now on the track to let Peck rejoin, but that's not what we want to see. Recovering from an off and then forcing another driver into a spin. Very unfortunate by Hutnik on his countryman Petr Peck. They are in rivaling teams, the two Czech drivers, the Nissan and the BMW team. but very unfortunate there. Let's have a look at Max Haas. He's trying to pass Jim Britton, so Jim made it up to P9 in the Porsche. Max Haas gets him, but Britton has the undercut, and he will turn in and keep the position, it seems. Yes, he has the pace and he is in front. Greg Metcalf is sitting right behind them, trying to get into the top 10. So we saw Metcalf battling for P15 a bit earlier. He's up to P11 now. So nice pack here with Jas Forsberg at the end. He dropped a couple of spots in the opening laps due to a small mistake, if I'm not mistaken. So Jim Britton at the forefront of this group for P9, 10, 11 and 12. Baku's now 2 seconds behind Lucas only, so that will be interesting to see. Also Pavlacek and Manojlovic not too far back from Lucas, so we might see some position switches in those top positions. But Robert Horvat in a class of his own at the moment, 10 seconds up on second place. So it's Britton, Haas, Metcalf and Forsberg. Oh, a bit wide there from Haas. Wanted to say what can Metcalf do, but he will not be able to do anything on the straight. That's one thing you can be sure of. The P45 lacking in straight line performance, but Metcalf taking the car by the scruff of the neck and forcing it around this track. It is good in the corners, which are abundant here on this Mickey Mouse track at the Hungaroring. So Greg also, from my own experience, a very good defensive driver. He can keep, if he wants to, and he doesn't make a mistake, he can keep Forsberg behind at 0.2 of a second for the next 40 minutes. So let's follow up on that and see what happens. But he's certainly the driver who is able to do that. I myself have spent countless laps and countless minutes looking at Greg Metcalf's gearbox, so that's one to watch for sure, and it might be the ideal car for Greg to showcase that talent. Of course, you can't do that without any speed, and as you can see, he does have the speed and the consistency to drive in the top 10 here at our one of our most important leagues at RRLeagues, the GTR3 Championship in RaceRoom Racing Experience. Peter Bakus in second position. Lucas is in the pits. Yes, he's taking an early pit stop. So Lucas going for a 2-stop strategy, if I'm not mistaken. It's right about the 20-minute mark. Interesting call there. There was some talk on the forum as well about strategy. Other drivers as well coming in. I think that is... who is that just in front of him? That's Pavel Moravec, right in front. So 2 Czech drivers going for 2-stop strategy on this race. Will it pay off? We will see at the end. So Lucas pitted from P2, about 2 seconds in front of Bakus. Let's see if Bakus will maybe get into the pits on the next lap, or if someone will be trying to one-stop this race. It will be very tough for sure. The guys were struggling at Road America in round 1, also a 60-minute race. The guys were struggling in the 25-minute sprint races around Silverstone. So here it will be no different. The gap first to second, 16 seconds, but virtually we have to count that Vlastimir Lucas is still in between that. Forsberg versus Metcalf. Oh, that's side by side. Will he have to yield, Greg? Yes, he does. Now it will be Forsberg trying to keep Metcalf behind, so switch for top 10 position. Forsberg takes the position from Greg Metcalf. Britain still in front of Haas there, and Pavlacek. Just looking at Pavel Hutnik. He is following Morten Wroclaw, who leaves the door wide open, but then can get on the power a bit earlier. Still, he loses the position, so he doesn't take that position back. And we have Simon Fillingham in P7, handing down Lucas Kolb in the old Ford GT3. Looks like Fillingham is picking up the pace gradually, so maybe taking care of his tires. We have no pitters just yet, so it seems to be only two drivers, Vlastimir Lukas and Pavel Moravec, taking a two-stop strategy. Max Haas is not letting Jim Britton go. Let's wait and see if Forsberg had some pace lying around when he was behind Greg Metcalf. Will he be able to close up on these two and make things interesting for Max Haas? For sure, looking in the rear view mirror. Meanwhile, at the front, it's Horvat still extending his lead on Robert Horvat, so he is still keeping up that pace. What we have to look at is Lucas. He's now 58 seconds behind the leader. Let's keep an eye on that and see if he gets closer, or if it really doesn't matter that he has new tires. Oh, Max Haas going on the inside on Britain. Some paint trading, but nothing serious. Britain keeps the position. Britain keeps P8. These three battling means Simon Fillingham has a bit of breathing space behind, and maybe also means that Metcalf can try and stay with them. He has a bit of ground to make up, but at the moment it is possible that he stays with them. Once again, if you have any questions about our series, about our drivers, anyone in particular we need to follow, then just let us know in the chat box, and we'll get on that as soon as possible. Lucas still 58 seconds behind, so keeping the gap to the front. Let's see if that stays this way. Was always the last 5 minutes of a stint that were the most difficult for the drivers, so losing the most amount of time. Ollie Bateson also was in the pits. He comes out in P22. And Max Haas really challenging Jim Britton here. Will he do the over-under once again on the outside? Braking side by side and then diving under Jim. Jim keeping it tidy there and not leaving any room to get past. Ollie Bateson, a lap down, comes out just between these guys, just in front. So that's. Let's see if he has the pace to stay in front, or if these guys will have to lap him. It's always an interesting thing to take care of, or to keep an eye on, at least. Well, looking at it now, I think Lucas and Moravec might have made the wrong call on strategy. They are not really gaining a lot of time on the front runners, and if they need to pit again, they will lose a lot of time. So let's see. Maybe they drive 40 minutes on one set of tires. Might be quicker than stopping again. So those are all options. Almost halfway through the race, and Horvat has a 20-second gap to Bacchus, but he doesn't really have a big gap anymore to Pavlacek. He's right behind actually, so he will have to keep his pace up to keep that second position and see where he ends up when he makes his pit stop. Does he come out in front or behind Vlastimir Lucas? That's not guaranteed that he will keep P2 at the first round of pit stops. That is. Lucas Kolb out of the pits. Right behind Petra Pek in the Nissan. Nice battle. Side by side into turn 2. Who will take the position? A bit of colder brakes. Oh, some bumping there by Lucas. Oh, tank slapper for Petra Pek, and he loses the position. I don't think that was aided by Lucas Kolb, but I might be wrong. So P18 for Kolb at the moment, but it's pit stop time, guys. Everybody will start getting into the pits, like Manojlovic, like Fillingham in the pits right now with 30 minutes to go in the race, so exactly halfway through. We will see what happens. Horvat has a healthy lead, so he can just stay there and wait to pit until everybody else has done so, and take it easy. See what everybody does. Here's the rear wing of Jim Britton, looking back at the BMW Alpina GT3 from Max Haas. Britton getting a real workout here, and I think he will be already sweaty after these first 30 minutes. So the top 4 has not stopped yet. Well, top 7, top 8. I think until P10, Lucas is the first one that did stop already. So first 9 drivers will need to pit. That's Jim Britton doing another lap, and Max Haas taking the pit stop. Let's see what happens there. Pavlacek as well in the pits. Bacchus in the pits. So very, very busy in the pit lane. Badcock now up to P2, and he's only 25 seconds behind the leader, so gaps are very, very small down from P2. Robert Horvat at the moment in a class of his own, but he will know it's all about concentration in these races. He lost the lead in Silverstone, and he will not want to repeat that at his home race here. So maximum concentration for him as well. Peter Backus going out of the pits, followed by Radek Pavlacek. Will they come out in front or behind? Vlastimir Lukas, they come out behind and quite a lot behind actually. So let's see how that looks. We have Lukas at 55 seconds of Horvat. He'll gain a bit of time there, and Backus a long way back there. So did they have a slow stop? I don't think so, because he's right with Pavlacek as well. So that means Lukas had a quick stop. Moravec as well in front. So yeah, the two-stopper might still be an option. Here we have Horvat in the pits. Our race leader is in the pits. Badcock as well in the pits. But Jim Britton is driving and into the pits as well. So Vlastimir Lukas in the lead at the moment. Sorry for not picking up on that. He looked like he was just keeping pace with Robert Horvat, not really gaining time. But he seems to have won about 10 seconds on the leader. So Hutnik, I think, didn't pit yet. We had Moravec as well, who did the two-stop strategy. So interesting to see. That means Lukas will pit in about 6 minutes or a bit longer. Yeah, well, that will not keep him that far up the order, but it's not the worst decision for sure. He will be able to drive within the limits of the car, not spin a lot, and not have the risk or that much risk to make mistakes at the end of his stint. So Robert Horvat now down to P3. Can he pick up the pace and pass Hutnik and Lukas on track, or will he wait for them to make the pit stop? Now back to some close racing. We have Petr Pek and Lukas Kolb. We saw them coming out of the pits together. Kolb taking the position from Pek, and it's still, the battle is still on between these two. Lukas, I see grass. I fear that's not good. He is floating around the earth. So Vlastimir Lukas having an unfortunate incident, it seems, and dropping out of the race. That's very, very unfortunate for him. Looks like a connection lost or something. I can't see him on the server anymore, so very unfortunate. But that puts Robert Horvat back into the lead already, past Pavel Hutnik, who is still driving on his old tires, if I am not mistaken. Backus is behind Moravec, and Pavlacek is right behind him. And then we have Manolovic, Fillingham and Badcock. So strategies panning out now. 45.6, still the fastest lap of the race by Robert Horvat. The dashcam from Petr Pek in the Nissan GT3. The Nissan has some good grunt. You can see here gaining time on the straight, but then hard over the curbs. Oh, and Kolb was very confident. Petr was not overlapping there, just turned into the apex, which he has every right to do, of course, but Very good spatial awareness by Kolb and Peck as well. Something is bound to happen here. Kolb very, very wide over the curbs. One late braking there by Peck, a bit too late. He lost a bit of time there. We will have to try and regain that time to get onto main straight, but it will not be for this lap. Here's Daniel Badcock right behind Simon Fillingham, and Max Haas is joining the party. Britain is in 12th position, so he lost some time in the pits. Haas is in 8th, and Haas was behind Britain just before the pit stops. So positions lost for Jim Britton in P12. And Fillingham still keeping his 6th position, which is not bad at all. Pavel Moravec, I think, still has to pit once. Well, he's not obliged to, but seeing he pitted at the 1/3 mark of the race, I'm expecting him to still pit or lose some time. See what Peter Backus can do. Here is Pavel Moravec's car. He's in Mercedes AMG, and he lets Peter Backus through, or at least that looked like that. Now Pavlacek will be very, very eager to get past as Moravec comes into the pits as expected. So that reshuffles the order. Horvat 21 seconds up on Peter Backus. Then Pavlacek is only about 1 second behind Backus, so very, very close indeed. And here's looking back from Daniel Badcock. So 20 minutes to go, and everything still to play for. We have a top 10 covered by 50 seconds, so any mistake will still mean a position change for many, many drivers, especially if you know that the gap from first to second is about 20-25 seconds. So that means 9 drivers are covered by 25 seconds. That's very, very close. I'll be back in just a second. Oh, and that's Daniel Badcock into the wall. Not sure what has happened there, but he's down to P7, and he will lose a lot more spots if he's not quick. Peter Peck goes past Lucas Kolb, trying to get as much draft as possible. Dives to the outside, and hard braking. Will he turn in? Ooh, that's very, very close, but he takes the position. So Daniel Badcock either made a mistake or got spun around on main straight, and he's now right in the middle of this pack together with Peck, Kolb, Roslev and Britton. Jim Britton just got past Morten Roslev, and he's looking quick. Can he challenge Daniel Badcock and Lucas Kolb? The battle between Bakos and Pavlacek is also heating up. So there's many things to look forward to for the end of this race. For round 3 of this championship, only 8 rounds in total. So nothing is set in stone. Jim Britton looking very, very quick here in the Porsche compared to the Audi and the Ford GT. A wide line. Can he get it turned in? Yes, he can, and on the power early. All that power onto the bike wheels of the Porsche. Good straight line speed. Will he take a lunge? He has a look, but he brakes in time, slots back in behind and goes for the white line out of turn 1. Now he has a good run. Defensive line by Daniel Badcock. Oh, yeah, he leaves the door open. Jim Britton hugging that inside. Daniel Badcock is still on his outside, I think, but not anymore. Position gained for Jim Britton up to P9. Good driving there, and Fillingham just got past Max Haas for P5. So old Mercedes versus very old Alpina GT3. So Britton up to P8 now. He got past Lucas Kolb as well. There's too many passes going on this track where you can't pass, apparently. That we can't really follow them all. Jim Britton really storming through the field, going for every bit of pace that he can get and every bit of draft or slipstream that he can get. Trying to get past Petr Pek for P7. That would be a great result in the Porsche around this track. Once again, let's drive on board with Britton. That was quite entertaining, I must say. Will he gain 4 positions in 2 laps? He looks to be the quickest of the drivers here at this point. There's quite a bit of a gap to the front, so I think realistically, if nothing special happens, P7 will be the maximum for Britton, but it's always better than P8. Very wide there by Petr Pek. Oof, very hard over the curbs in the Porsche. But quite smooth by Britton, and also the battle between Haas and Fillingham still raging on. Let's have a quick look. Haas got back past Fillingham. Now will Fillingham make a move into turn 1? It doesn't seem like that. And let's see if Britton will do that. It also doesn't look like it. But look, these two guys made quite of a gap to Daniel Badcock behind. So not to worry there. So Pavel Nieri here for 14th position. Also battling very hard. He has Forsberg and Dore in front. Metcalf as well in P11. So a nice pack here as well. And good racing up and down the field. There are some battles we need to switch between, and then we're not even looking at the battle for P2 between Bakus and Pavlacek. They are 2 seconds from each other, which is an eternity here in RRL Championship racing. Jim Britton is 3/10 behind Petr Pek. That's more like it, I would say. Gaining time. 3/10 behind still, but well, that Nissan punches a big hole into the air, but has the power to do so as well. So not the easiest of passes that will be for Jim Britton. Filling him then. Got passed again by Max Haas, but couldn't retake the position yet. Let's see, they still have 11 minutes to go. Tire wear will start to play a role here for the final stint of the race. Let's not forget Robert Horvat is in the lead of his home race here at the Hungaroring. And we also have Szabolcs Albertini as his second Hungarian driver. Also his home race is in P17 and looking for points scoring positions. He's one second behind P15, so it's very much possible for Albertini to take some points. He did take a point at Road America, taking P15 there as well. And Greg Metcalf, as always, is involved in some close racing. That was Roslev lighting up the rears just in front of him, taking a very wide line now. So Metcalf on the inside, and he takes the position from Roslev. Now, can he defend it on the straight line? Seems he had a reasonable gap already, so if he gets his braking done correctly... Oh, 3 wide almost into turn 1. Nieri at the back of this group. He is in 14th, so 2 points awarded to him at the moment. So very nice battle pack here. Not to forget also Manojlovic. He's one of the loneliest drivers on track together with Robert Horvat, but he's in P4, so very strong result once again for Bakus and Manojlovic for Let's Kick Some Butts racing team. David Dore in the middle of this pack with a broken headlight, so he had some incidents. The car has been through a lot here in the past 50 minutes. Oh, Nieri right behind Jas Forsberg. Can he make the pass? very wide by Dore. Bumping with Roslev. Looking at Jas Forsberg breaking into turn 1. Roslev bumping with David Dore, but I think David will take the spot. He will take P11. Can Jas follow through in the other Audi? Roslev turns in a bit too early there, it seems. Also Jas was... oh! Very nicely done by Jas Forsberg to take P12 from Morten Roslev. That was very, very brave indeed. Roslev right behind. And Britain got past Peck. In the end he's now 3 seconds clear. We didn't spot that, but he did make the pass. Now he is 12 seconds behind Fillingham, so that will be a big task to make up that amount of time in 7 minutes. But anything can still happen. We are still set to have some drama in this race, for sure, with these close battles going on. You can see Roslev starting to struggle with the tires, getting the power down and getting some oversteer. Well, yeah, Fillingham and Haas keep battling like this. Britain might indeed keep the position or take challenge for P6, P7 or P5, but I don't think that will be reasonable to expect that from him. Pavlacek still 1.5 seconds more or less behind Bakus. Then 5 seconds to Manojlovic, 5 seconds to Haas. Then another 10 seconds from Fillingham to Britain. And then we have this battle: Peck and Badcock, Metcalf, Dore, Forsberg, Roslev, Nieri, and Lucas Kolb in 15th and the last points paying position. Some nice driving by Roslev here. Good to watch the onboards of the Porsches. He's in the team with Jim Britton. They're in the CC Megacorp Works team, Roslev and Britton. Britain is not really bringing that gap down. Oh, Nieri here on the inside, getting the pass done. So Roslev going backwards a little bit. 4 minutes to go, so that's about 3 to 4 laps still to go for Robert Horvat. 35 seconds in front of Bakus. Very dominant performance. Daniel Badcock here behind Petr Peck, but what I was looking for was Simon Fillingham behind Max Haas, still very, very close. And let's see here what this looks like in on the screen. Pavlacek versus Bakus. Just 1 second, 1 to 2 seconds between them for the whole second stint and part of the first stint. So great driving by these two top drivers. The McLaren handling a lot better here than at Silverstone, I think. Pavlacek really showing what he can do here with this car. And you see the variety of cars there on the left. We have Mercedes, BMW, McLaren, BMW, Alpina, BMW as well. Then Mercedes, Porsche, Nissan, Audi, P45 Competizione, etc. So a very nice variety of cars. Back to Nihiri, he passed Morten Roslev, and it seems he has taken care of his tires quite well. He's now trying to get past David Dore for P11. Really get the braking done. David stays in front. It's a very difficult turn 1 to judge whether you are on for a move or not, or whether you can turn in or not. So we have not seen a lot of incidents there, which is good to see. Good performance by all of the drivers. This race has been very clean, in my opinion, which is also something we try to strive for in our leagues. We do stewarding. You can submit incidents after the races to keep everybody informed about what's expected, what is not done, and get penalized for it as well, of course. Pavlacek will he try to actually make a move on Peter Backus? That is an important question. He is a bit too far back at the moment. There's Nihiri now on the inside, squeezing David Dore to the outside and taking the position. So Nihiri now behind Metcalf. The McLaren versus the P45. And in the end, I think 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, we were talking about Forsberg being behind Metcalf and that it will not be easy to pass him. Well, he did pass him, but now he is a bit further back. So consistency is everything. Oh, Greg braking early and giving that position to Nihiri. Oh, and then Nihiri giving him, yeah, well, some room, but apparently not enough for Greg to keep his line. And Greg Metcalf off the track, down to P14, it seems, and back running. So outside, well, almost outside of the points. 2 points for Greg if he keeps P14. Let's ride here with our race leader, passing 2 drivers, or lapping 2 drivers at once. That's I think Ethan Kearley in the Bentley. Yes, so Horvat starting his last lap. Absolutely brilliant performance from start to finish. Qualified on pole with a big gap. Never gave away his first position. 35 seconds gap to Peter Backus, who is absolutely no slouch. So, well, all credit to Robert Horvat for normally, if he doesn't screw up this lap, taking the win at his home race. Yeah, making a big step towards getting some good points for the championship. He didn't show for Road America, and he had a non-points finish at the first race of Silverstone, so he has some some ground to make up to Peter Backus, and Backus again finishing second, so that's not really going to put him a lot closer. But a very nice performance by Peter Backus. Let's just see other people starting their last laps. David Dore, Peter Peck and Daniel Badcock as well, still very, very close. So it's battles going on up and down the field. Backus has extended the gap to Pavlacek just a little bit, so I don't think there will be any drama there. Britain is at the front of that pack, where he sliced through actually. So nice performance by him as well. So that's a win for Robert Horvat. Peter Backus now rounding the last turn, saluting the pit crew. Second spot for him. Radek Pavlacek also very happy with third spot. Then Nemanja Manojlovic quite lonely, but he will take fourth, and a good team result for Let's Kick Some Butt Racing team. Then Max Haas, also a very good performance in the Alpina. He greets his pit crew as well. P5 for him. Then Simon Fillingham in P6. Jim Britton in P7. Good performance by him. Nice driving we did see from the onboards. Daniel Badcock will finish in P8. Pavel Niri will finish in P9. If he keeps the position, that will be a very close one. Roslev is in front. And Roslev takes P9 from Pavel Niri. Very close. Jas Forsberg here taking P11, then Petr Pek in P12, Greg Metcalf in P13, David Dore in P14, and Hutnik in position number 15. So the last points scoring position. Albertini just outside of the points at his home race in 16th, Pavel Moravec in 17th, then Lukas Kolb in 18th position. Here are the final standings. So we had Suski and Kirli still finishing in 19th and 20th position, and then Lucas Rossi and Frajda Bateson and Xavi Ortiz, non-finishers of this Hungaroring race. So congrats to all the finishers, congrats to Robert Horvat for taking the win at his home race. We will see you in 2 weeks' time at Spa-Francorchamps for a endurance round. 95 minutes, even a bigger challenge for the drivers on the tires, on the strategy, on the consistency and on the pace. So we will see you in 2 weeks' time. If you want to come race with us or follow us, just look for rrleagues.com and you will find us there. We will see you very soon, and if you have any suggestions, any remarks about the stream, about how we can improve our league or our streaming, just let us know and we will certainly take a look. Thank you for joining me tonight, and goodbye. Have a good night.